motion. Daniels retreats, throw it end zone, touchdown, De'Ami Brown.
Jayden Daniels put on a clinic in the wildcard round of the playoffs versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, capping off one of the best seasons ever for a rookie quarterback. However, as we moved through the playoffs, we all felt the Commanders would eventually lose to the Lions in the next round. To the surprise of everyone, Jayden Daniels and the Commanders shocked the league by beating the best team in the league in the Detroit Lions in the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, leading everyone to ask, is Jayden Daniels already one of the best quarterbacks in the league? I think that may remain to be seen. But when you break down the film, the Commanders are putting their foot in the ground and telling the league there is a new type of quarterback in the NFL. And it's a style of quarterbacking that, until this point, has only resided in the AFC. So, how did they do it? Today, we're breaking down how the Commanders outsmarted the Detroit Lions in one of the highest scoring playoff matchups of the year. For the insane highlights of Terry McLaurin to the surgical runs of Jayden Daniels, we broke down the game to understand the key adjustments the Commanders made throughout the game and how it propelled them to the NFC Championship. The question we're trying to answer: how did the Commanders beat the Lions? Was it all Jayden Daniels, or did the Lions beat themselves with a depleted defense? Stick around because I think you're going to find the answer very interesting. What's going on, guys, and welcome to Statline Football, the go-to channel for the in-depth football analysis. If you love breaking down the game and diving into the details, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. This is where the football truly comes alive. All right, let's break it down. Coming off their past two games against the Vikings, the Lions looked like a competent defense that could still get it done just enough for their offense to take over games. However, what we saw in their only loss against the Bills just a few weeks prior was that when they're matched against an equally explosive offense, the Lions have to get ahead quickly to keep leads. And right off the bat, the Commanders put them in a really bad position. Early in the first quarter, the Commanders did their best to keep the Lions in their base defense as often as possible, and they were consistently running no tempo, so the Lions had no chance to substitute their personnel. The Commanders ran a lot of 11 personnel with 2 wide receivers and 2 tight ends. This gave them the chance to run the ball with Daniels if the Lions defense were showing a blitz. However, in this 2nd and 6 in the middle of the first quarter, the Lions got stuck in a traditional Tampa 2 defense, and it was an easy concept for the Commanders' play call. These 2 tight ends are running clear outs towards the middle of the field to draw the linebackers away from Terry McLaurin and De'Ami Brown, who are running intermediate option routes. The Lions' cornerbacks are playing in off-ball coverage and are clearly giving the receivers way too much depth. Jayden Daniels and McLaurin recognize this, so Terry only has to run a 15-yard out and successfully beats the leverage of the cornerback, and it's an easy 15-yard throw for Daniels and McLaurin. And this just shows how well Daniels knows Kingsbury's air raid offense and how to throw on time. But it wasn't just his timing that beat the Lions. Daniels showed remarkable accuracy downfield that gave the Commanders chunk plays to capitalize on their possessions. Late in the second quarter, the Commanders are running no tempo again on this 2nd and 8 and have the Lions right where they want them and are looking to take another deep shot. Running some kind of smash concept, the Lions are also looking to make a big play and force the Commanders into a 3rd and 8. They choose to do this by running man coverage on the outside and choosing to blitz 6. By the time Daniels gets to his back foot, the Lions are already starting to break through. But Daniels already knows where to go with the ball, as he notices his safety is playing outside leverage to De'Ami Brown running a crossing route. He buys a little time by hitching to the left, and the Commanders' offensive line is pushing around the other defenders on the blitz. Then he throws an absolute dime to De'Ami Brown, who makes an incredible catch. But what I found most interesting in this game was how the Commanders adjusted in the second half to continue moving the ball. They relied more on Daniels to win them the game. As we all know, the Lions have suffered way too many injuries this year, and to be honest, that didn't stop in this game, as cornerback Amit Robertson was helped off the field very early in the game. The Commanders correctly adjusted by forcing the Lions to put as many corners on the field as possible so they could attack their weak secondary. When the second half started, the Commanders used multiple 3 wide receiver sets to put pressure on that secondary. But it also forced the Lions defense into another problem. That would leave them with only 2 linebackers on the field to cover for Daniels in case he decided to run. And that's exactly what happened. In the middle of the third quarter, the Commanders were placing 3 wide receivers all over the field, and found the Lions would blitz on 2nd and long situations. At this moment, the Lions had just scored, making the score 31-28. The defense desperately needed a stop, so they decided to send a strong side blitz. The Commanders are running a play concept to get them just a few yards to put them in a good position on 3rd down, but Daniels had other plans. Because of the position of the blitz, Jayden knows his receivers will be running to the middle of the field on the right side. As the play starts, the Lions do essentially beat the play with their blitz, but it didn't really matter. Jayden rolls to the right and notices the Lions are playing man defense again. He then sees a lane to run the ball and decides to use his legs. He lets his wide receivers complete his whip route so he can run straight to the 6 and completing an incredible 14-yard run. While this run was still early in the drive, it was an important play as it ended up leading to a touchdown, which basically put the Lions out of the game by the beginning of the 4th quarter. Jayden was surgical when using his legs. If you look at his attempts, only 2 plays resulted in a loss of yardage. He was persistent to keep moving the ball and used his legs often on 4th down to continue drives. It is worth noting that the Lions likely beat themselves in this game by committing 5 turnovers. These mistakes not only cost them scoring opportunities, but also left them without a chance to take a lead with the ball in their hands at the end of the game. The Commanders took advantage of this by moving the ball efficiently and capitalizing on turnovers. To put it simply, Cliff Kingsbury and the Commanders outcoached Aaron Glenn and the Lions' defense by effectively using their personnel to highlight Jayden's strengths. They kept the Lions' defense in favorable looks by strategically running a no-tempo offense. By placing much of the game in Jayden's hands, he capitalized on simple reads and accurate throws to generate explosive plays by using his mobility to efficiently move the ball in high-pressure situations. Now with the Commanders in the NFC Championship, it's difficult to know if they can pull it off against their divisional rivals in the Eagles. However, if this game proved anything, it's that in the NFL, anything can happen on any given Sunday.